Hey everybody, these are my 2020 flips. These aren't all the cards that I flipped this year. These are the ones that actually I still had information on in eBay. eBay only keeps the stats for 90 days, so these only been in the last 3 months of sales for me from cards that I purchased raw or graded throughout the year. These are all the cards that I purchased through eBay and sold on eBay. So it's not any cards that I purchased from any shows, any cards that I got out of packs, any cards that I might have got somewhere else, maybe ComC. These are all cards that came through eBay. Then I turn around and either get them graded and flipped it, I flipped them raw, or I purchased them graded and flipped it. So let's go through it. We'll go ahead and start with a raw flip of Jamel Murray. I purchased this lot back in July for $4. It was a pretty easy purchase for me. I'm a big Jamal Murray fan. I think he's a great player. Looking at his stats, he was only averaging around 17 points a game, but he had that big contract. For some reason, he just stood out to me, and I watched a couple other videos. Sports Card Investor and other people were saying that Jamel Murray's probably gonna have a good year this year. So I kind of took from my research and learned from these other guys and purchased as many Jamel Murray cards as possible, especially since they were low hanging fruit for most of the year. And back in July, his cards still were pretty cheap. So I bought this lot for $4. I turned around and sold it and set one of the cards in September for $28. The other card that I had for him, I'm actually gonna go ahead and submit to get graded through PSA. So far I've made $24 profit off of this purchase, and we'll see what happens once I get the cards back from PSA. The next card that I'll be taking a look at is a Anthony Davis card that I purchased graded. I purchased this card back in January for $12.86. It was a pretty easy purchase for me. Big Anthony Davis fan. I thought the Lakers were going to win a championship all year. It was a rookie card. It was numbered to 99. It was a PSA already graded it. When I took a look at it, it actually was no other card graded higher than this one. It was only a few cards even graded from the set. So I went ahead and purchased it. I turned around and sold it a few months later for $57, and I made a profit of $44.14. So this is just basically buying a card, waiting a couple months, and then selling it for a profit. It's a pretty easy thing to do, and this is something that I'm really just starting to do this year. I was always been a collector. Last 3 years, I've gotten back into it. I was a kid collecting, and I would just pick up stuff, every couple years. Maybe when LeBron became a rookie, bought maybe 3 or 4 cards. Then nothing major. But last 3 years, I really bought a house, got a basement, as you can see, my man cave, and I decided to start collecting again. Then start thinking about investing, so buying more high-end cards to hold on to. And then it was like, well, I want to start flipping a lot of these little cards that I have that come in a pack that I purchased or I get from a card show of a player that I like. Well, I think about getting graded and flipping, so that's what I started doing. So here's a great example of cards that I got graded and then I flipped. So it's John Collins. I live here in Atlanta, so I've been watching John Collins for the last couple of years. I saw his stock going up. He started averaging 20 points this year, so I started picking up a lot of his rookie cards. So back in January, I bought this card for $2. I then sent it in through Clay Cards to get it graded through PSA. At that time, I'd never graded a card, so I decided to go through Clay. He has a great service. He evaluates your cards. He gives you some feedback on the cards you sent in. So I used Clay for this one. It was at the time he was only charging $10, so it was a great value. And then I ended up selling it recently, back in November when I got it back from Clay, and I decided to sell a couple of the cards I got back from him. Sold it for $110. So if you take a look at that, I purchased it for two, spent $10 to get it graded, sold it for 110. That's a $98 profit for a card that no one really were thinking about buying back in January. So that's what I'm doing. I buy a lot of cards of prospects, NBA, NFL, some MLB, of players that are I think has potential. I'm looking at how many points they're averaging, what draft pick they were, what team they're on. I take a look at that, check out their stats on ESPN, see how their Carmelo report is saying that they're projecting, and then I'll buy them up. It's an easy investment when you spend $2 for a John Collins card. He might not pan out, but he might. So it's a good idea if you think he can, just go ahead and spend $2 for it. There's a lot of rookies, a lot of second year, third year players that might fall into that category. So I've been picking those guys up for pretty cheap. Here's a great example of one I picked up for $2, and a few months later I sold for 110. So it's a good way to make a couple extra bucks as you collect and also pay for the things that you want. So here's another great example of this. It's a Kyle Kuzma card I bought in January for $6. I then turned around and sold it for 100. So this card came graded. It was already PSA 10. Back in January, a lot of people weren't on, collecting or flipping. So it was an easy card to buy. I was buying a lot of cards at that point graded for really cheap. And then I waited a couple months, and as the NBA season got going and the sports card market kind of blew up, I've been able to make some profits. So $100 sold, made a $94 profit. Another good card that I wanted to cover is the Zach LaVine card. So I bought this card raw for $8.50 way back in January. In the January is when I picked it up. At the time, Zach LaVine was averaging like 24 points a game, and I was like, hey, this guy can have a good career. He's in Chicago. Chicago's a good city for people who love the sport, especially basketball. It's a good chance his card values might go up, and people really aren't purchasing them at a very high rate right now. So I bought this card. It's a refractor rookie. It's the variation from Prism. It's the set. It's actually not that many cards in the set because it's a variation set, and I was able to get it for pretty cheap. I paid to get it graded through SGC. This was one of my first submissions through SGC. I've done like 4 or 5 submissions with them so far this year. Every month I was to send them in, and I started doing SGC because at the time PSA had a 50 card requirement for like a budget submission, and I just, I didn't really have enough cards for me to grade 50 cards, and plus I'm really just learning about grading. I'm just learning about flipping. So why would I spend $500, or I think they're what, $12.50 a card, almost $700, to get some cards graded when I don't really know what to look for on my end. Also, going through Clay was great, but then you kind of have to wait for him to evaluate everything to send it in, and that's with most graders because they have such a high volume. And plus, it gives me more control when I have my own set. In PSA or SGC, I could see the cards I've gotten graded in the past. I just felt like, it was a good idea for me to get these cards graded myself. And at the time, SGC was only $10. They were promising a 20-day turnaround, but that didn't happen. It took like 3 months to get these cards back. But at the same time, it gave me the ability to not submit a lot of cards. Submit like 5 my first order, 10 my second order, 15. I think the biggest order I sent with SGC was like 15, 16 cards. But they got me an opportunity to learn like how grading actually works, what I should be looking for, and not have to blow the bank, not do a $700 spin to see how it works. SGC gave me the opportunity to see how grading works and make a little profit. So from this one, I sold it for $150, which gave me $131.50 profit total. So to me, that was just good profit. That gave me the opportunity to buy more cards, more expensive cards, to then set off to get graded. So we'll go on to the next set that I actually purchased, and it's actually a lot. So I purchase lots a lot. I've learned over the last couple months of doing this, and actually the last 2 years of doing this more, that you can get a lot of cards in a lot, and sometimes new sellers don't know how to list cards in their lot. So for this one, it was a card lot that consisted of you know, several different cards. The main card that I was looking for in this lot was right here. So I purchased this lot just for this Trae Young. It's a Trae Young Optic. Um, it's not a silver, it's the flash card. It was actually at the time selling for around $35. So for $40, I got an entire lot of cards. It actually included some cards for other players, other good rookie cards, other number cards. But these two cards, which were really hard to see what they were in the picture, and you only had like one picture on this lot, turned out to be these two cards right here. So one of them was a Ruby Rave second year Panini Prism Trae Young. This other one was a purple ice numbered to 149. So I sent both of those off to SGC. One came back a 10, which was the Ruby Wave, and the other one came back a 9. So from that sale, I was actually able to make. Um, so I'm trying to turn off pencil. Sorry, guys. I was able to sell buy an entire lot for 300 and I mean $39.10. I was able to, get the card graded, get the two cards graded for $20. I sold one for 45, the other one for 102.50, which was a profit, which was a total of $147.50, which got me a profit of $88.40. And I still haven't sent out any of the other cards to get graded. So the one card that I bought the card lot for, I haven't sent that to get graded yet. It's a couple other Trae Young, DeAndre Hunter. I believe it was some Cam Reddish rookie cards in this. Some of them were numbered. So all these cards that I got out of this lot, I've only gotten two graded so far, and I've already made a profit of $88. So I think I'm pretty happy so far with this one. The next one that we're going to be taking a look at is actually another lot for Trae Young. Once again, I'm always looking for lots, especially lots for rookie cards in it. I got this lot of two cards, which are the Don Ross Optic, the rookies. So doing research, looking at just different breaks that I was part of, and then I just watched a couple other break videos on Optic because I'm a big Optic fan of like. So I'm looking for the subsets that don't come out of the breaks that often. So I was looking at the rookies, and I was only seeing like two of the rookies cards coming out of case breaks, like only two of them. So it's like these cards are a lot more rare than the other optic rookie cards. So maybe I should start picking them up. So I bought a lot of Trae Young. I bought a lot of DeAndre Hunter. I've bought a lot of just other cards for the last 2-3 years of the rookies, and they're mostly in the NBA. There are only 5 rookies that they do. I think the new Clearly set has 10, but the rookies are always like a subset of just 5 cards, maybe 10 now, of some of the top rookies, the prospects that are coming into the league, and they're very rare to get. They're a lot more rare than the base rookie, which people are paying a lot more money for. So I just been buying these up like crazy. Here's just one set that I bought, one lot of the Trae Youngs I bought. I sent both these cards in to get graded through SGC. They both came back 10s. I spent $20 to get them graded. So we're looking at maybe $28 total investment into this. I sold both of them for $65, which was a profit of $130. I mean, I sold for $130. I made a profit of 102 and 1 penny. So $100 profit off of just this one subset, which allows me to buy more cards. Um, Next one I'll take a look at was actually just a raw Clark flip. So I don't always send cards in to get graded. Sometimes I buy cards and of players that I'm big on, and I'll just hold on to them. Either when I review them, I don't really think that they're going to get me a 10 or a 9, or when I'm going through all right, these are the cards I'm sending in to get graded. It just didn't, it wasn't a card that I thought was like it's going to be a big value in, but I'll just hold on to it into maybe the next round of grading or if the player goes off. So Jamel Murray went off in the playoffs. He was putting up 50-point games. He led his team to the Western Conference Finals. The guy was just balling. So this card here I purchased in May, really before the bubble started, when the season was kind of at a standstill, for $11.08. I then turned around and sold it a few months later after he had like one of those 50-point games for $144. So you take a look at that. It's $11 spent, and then I sold for 144. I made a profit of $132.92, and that's just in a few months of just having a card sitting on it. I didn't include this card in any of my cards that I was sending out to get graded because compared to other cards that I had for Jamel Murray and other cards that I wanted to get graded, it was just like a auto card from a Father's Day set. It wasn't numbered. Had good edges, good centering, good corners. I thought it would get at least a 9 with PSA, a 9.5 with SGC, maybe a 10, either one of them on a good day. So I was just like, I'll just sit on it, wait until I do a submission where I kind of, are like, okay, maybe this card get a 9.5, or maybe I get a 9. But he's playing so well that, if I get it graded at the end of the season, I get it back, I can sell it. I was just like, why not just sell it this day? I actually sold, and I couldn't find a lot of my sales from when the bubble was happening, so I didn't include them in this. And I wanted to show you guys like real numbers, not just me telling you how much I made. But it was several other Jamel Murray cards that when he was putting up those 50-point games, I had purchased for under $20 auto cards that I was just selling like crazy for $100 here, $200 here. My biggest sell I think was like, it was I can maybe show this later on if I just show you guys like 9 cards that I bought off eBay and how I purchased them. But it was like a card that I saw that was a PSA 9 rookie silver, or so for like $500. But that all came from just me picking up his cards from shows, picking up cards from different places for dirt cheap, because people just weren't high on him, and I saw him having great potential. So thank you for watching. These are my card flips for 2020. I still have a lot of cards that are up for sale right now. Hopefully I'll be able to create some more videos like this in the future for you guys to take a look. I hope you leave comments. Let me know if you want me to create any other type of content, or maybe show you how I get cards from eBay or ComC and then flip them. I don't mind showing those guys that too. So have a good one. Peace.